the logic behind faked and flawed experiments. First, I'm going to start with if experiments are flawed. According to you, draft science, when you point out all the flaws in our experiments, we basically are just too stupid and unaware to pay attention to all the details and variables that can change the outcome of an experiment. By definition, if we are unaware of our own flaws, then these flaws are unintentional. On the other hand, if we are forcibly cheating the experiment, then we are aware of it and we are intentionally changing the outcome of the experiment. Now, when the experiments are flawed, so the flaws are unintentional, then why do we always get similar outcomes? I'm talking about the following experiments done by physicist Michael, Ian Gosling, Michael Fowle, Mindless Marbles, Stephen Bro, myself, and of course many teachers all over the world. I'm talking about the hundreds of basic collisions that coincidentally always match conventional science each time. I'm talking about the lever launcher coincidentally producing the 1.4 result each time. I'm talking about launching a 1 mass and a 2 mass with a rubber band coincidentally producing the 1.4 result each time. I'm talking about the coupled oscillators coincidentally producing the 1.4 result each time. I'm talking about dropping a cylinder into clay and foam, coincidentally producing 4 times the volume when when it goes twice as fast. I'm talking about explosions, all of them coincidentally matching conventional science. I'm talking about the balanced lever experiment to prove inertia, with the 1 mass versus the 1 mass at equal distances from the fulcrum, and the 1 mass versus the 2 mass at half the distance from the fulcrum. Dozens and dozens of tests, and they never oscillate in the same way. The 1 mass versus the 1 mass always oscillates slower. I'm talking about the 4 mass dropped at 1 velocity and the 1 mass dropped at 2 velocity. The results are always closer to conventional science than to your science. I'm talking about the Newton's cradle, where we have the 1 mass versus 3 mass ratio. I have provided so many tests viewed from every possible angle, proving you wrong each time. The 1.4 result is a direct prediction of the kinetic energy formula, but according to you, it's all flawed or cheated. So again, when it is flawed and therefore unintentional, why do these experiments produce similar results? This means that flawed experiments naturally produce results that prove conventional science right. Now, since a flawed experiment is unintentional by definition, this means that we are unaware of the flaws, and this means that we are unaware of what type of flaws they are or how grotesque they are. Yet they always seem to produce similar results. This means that it doesn't matter what type of flaws they are or how grotesque they always produce the same results and always coincidentally prove conventional science right. This doesn't make sense at all. Okay, now the second part, if experiments are cheated. If experiments are cheated, then the setup is forced to change the result. So therefore, the experimentator is aware of the results and will intentionally adjust the setup to make it come out a different way. You have many times claimed that we are all cheaters and that we force our experiments to come out our way. This means that we actually know that the experiments produce outcomes that actually prove you right, or that we get results that don't come out our way and that we are therefore spending hours and hours trying to find ways to make it come out the way we want. Again, the difference between flawed and forced experiments is that flawed experiments produce unintentional flaws and results, and forced experiments produce intentional results. Now, if the experimental setup is actually forced and manipulated, then we definitely know what we are doing and we know what effect the manipulation will have with respect to the experimental outcomes. So, within the context of cheating, we actually know that the results are always coming out your way, but we are hiding that from you and we are forcing the experiment. So, in this scenario, there are no flaws and we are actually doing the experiments correctly. However, we are forcing and manipulating it. That's what it means to cheat. It means that we are getting results that are coming out your way. So, to begin with, we are doing the experiments correctly. Secondly, we notice it's coming out your way. And thirdly, we manipulate the experiment to make it come out our way. This means that there are no unintentional flaws and that no improvement is necessary because in reality we are already getting results that come out your way, so without improvements. And the only thing is that we are simply manipulating it. This is the logic of cheating an experiment. However, on the other hand, you keep saying that all the experiments are horribly flawed and that we are too stupid to do good experiments, and so they need lots of improvements. But then this belongs into the category of unintentional flaws. Now, the only way to show you that I am not cheating is by showing you unedited footage of me doing the experiments, which I have done. For example, within the Newton's cradle 1:3 mass ratio experiment. I have dealt with all the flaws that you have discovered, and I have adjusted the experiment to improve it and get rid of those flaws. Yet the results were still the same. This is an endless process of you pointing out flaws, we adjusting the experiment, but still producing similar results. So there is absolutely no way that you can accuse me of cheating within this particular experiment, as I have shown you everything in real time unedited. The next argument is, if all the collision experiments are cheated, then this means that all the teachers in the world are all faking it. Literally thousands and thousands of teachers somehow secretly know that they are cheating every experiment and that it is their intention to deceive all their students and the world. They all have a secret agenda. They are all religious fanatics serving Leibniz and the holy god of kinetic energy. The fact that you believe this is true is absolutely insane. This is just utterly ridiculous.